And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Really excited to have you with us this evening. The 2023 season debut of Tornado Talk. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season, and Happy New Year from all of us here at Brevard College and with the Tornado Athletic Program. And we have an exciting show on tap for you this evening. We're going to be talking all hoops. It's a basketball exclusive evening. Those are the programs, the men's and women's basketball teams that have been working hard over this break and have already gotten back into action here at the Boshemer Gymnasium. So looking forward to some great guests from the men's and women's basketball programs. But first, do want to thank our sponsors of Brevard College Tornado Athletics: Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Pardee Sports Medicine, Pepsi, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Very much appreciate the sponsors of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. We couldn't do it without you. And do want to take notice of a special sponsor. This group came on board with the Brevard College Athletic Program at the beginning of the fall semester and have done a wonderful job assisting in the healthcare of our Tornado student athletes. So we want to recognize Pardee Sports Medicine and Southeastern Sports Medicine Orthopedics for being the official healthcare provider for the BC Tornadoes. In addition to the outstanding quality of care provided by the orthopedic doctors, Pardee also offers care in the areas of oncology, cardiovascular, primary care, and several subspecialties. Pardee Sports Medicine, proud partners with Brevard College Athletics. Well, all sorts to get to when it comes to the basketball programs, but do want to let you know also the spring sports schedules have arrived. So if you go to bctornadoes.com, you can use the composite schedule feature, or you can go to the individual sport pages and see the schedules for men's and women's lacrosse, for baseball, for softball, for men's and women's tennis. We also will be hosting track and field conference championships here on the campus of Brevard College this spring. So go to bctornadoes.com and start to map out your calendar when it comes to the Brevard College Tornadoes. And speaking of the Tornadoes, quite a bit to catch you up on since we saw you last. Men's basketball had a road trip to the Greenville-Spartanburg area where they defeated Bob Jones 97-89 over the break. Freshman Jaden Carnes was named USA South Men's Basketball Rookie of the Week for his performance in that game. Then the men's basketball team headed to Atlanta, Georgia for a couple games right around the new year, and the Tornadoes were able to get a win there as well, 75-70 over Oglethorpe. Next up for the men's basketball team, who's now open conference play and looking to get things going on the win column on the USA South Conference side of the ledger. Men's basketball will take on Pfeiffer tomorrow, 7 p.m. This is a big USA South Conference matchup for the Tornadoes. 7 p.m. Tuesday at the Bosch. Hope to see you there. Women's basketball coming off two impressive wins this past week, 78-56 over Mary Baldwin. And then a few days later here at the Bosch, 73-54 over Methodist. The Tornadoes now 6-0 in conference play. Next up is a game tomorrow at Greensboro. Two teams atop the USA South Conference standings will go at it Tuesday night in Greensboro, the Tornadoes at Greensboro. And then 3 consecutive home games beginning Friday. Women's basketball versus Mary Baldwin, 6 p.m. at the Bosch on Friday, versus Southern Virginia, 4 p.m. Saturday at the Bosch. And then the Tornadoes will host Warren Wilson on Monday night, January the 16th. That's 1 week from tonight. So no Tornado Talk that night. We'll be broadcasting the women's basketball game versus Warren Wilson. And with that, do want to welcome in our first guest of the evening, as joining the program once again, head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson. Coach Hudson, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me on, Phil. Always a pleasure.
No doubt, Coach, no doubt. And, I'd be remiss not to talk about the start that the Tornadoes are off and running with here in conference play. And it, culminated this past weekend with this great win over Methodist at the Bosch. 6-0 start in conference play. Coach, you've got to be extremely pleased with that kind of start in USA South Conference League play.
Yes, Phil, I agree 100%. We're off to a really good start. Playing some good basketball on both sides of the court, but still working on the consistency aspect, trying to kind of just make sure we're taking care of the little things, because stuff that we try to talk about as far as scouting reports and being locked into the stuff we're doing, those are the little things that we need to stay locked in with it from a consistency standpoint. The group is playing hard. They're starting to buy into what we're doing on both sides, starting to get a rhythm with each other, starting to feel like who gets the ball where, who can play good in this spot, who plays well here. And it's fun to watch when we're doing it the right way. Playing good right now, but still a lot that we can be better with going forward.
Would like to kind of reflect back a little further, Coach, because it's been a while since we've had you on the show, and it was kind of an anomaly in terms of the schedule where, the women's basketball program had a long stretch without games, and, sort of unprecedented, since, I believe you've been here, that, to have that kind of stretch without any games. But I know, there was a lot of productive work put in over that Christmas holiday, over that break. And I would love to hear sort of what you all accomplished during that time and how that has set you up for conference play.
Yeah, an extended break, Phil, so really good for the body, good for the mind, and kind of good to get away and be with some family. But it kind of throws a wrench in your rhythm, your everyday routine that you have with your team. So we got a chance to kind of get away a little bit, see some family. We came back December 27th, I believe, a day or two after Christmas. And we got started with our practice, got a couple weight sessions in, got to spend some time with each other. There's nobody else on campus. It's just us and the guys. And so some practice time, meals, eating. We had a nice little get together where we exchanged gifts and did one of our traditions that we call painting our quote block. So a lot of time together, Phil. It was also time for us to kind of refine some of the stuff that we did not do well in the first semester. So a lot of time to focus on us. We got back with a week before our first game. So the first 4 days were nothing but things that we need to improve at. And as we got closer to Mary Baldwin, we started to kind of implement the game plan and prepare for how we were going to attack them. But over the break, I think the girls became closer. We saw some things start to click, and we had a good time.
Great to hear. And then, Mary Baldwin, that first game of the new year, school's still not in session. Classes actually started up today on Monday, but, you're still in kind of that, training camp mode kind of thing, the second training camp of sorts. And then you make the trip to Stoughton, Virginia, and a decisive 78-56 win, a big day from McKenna Parkins, 19 points, 8 of 11 shooting. Lexi Shepard with a big day statistically as well, along with Olivia Miller. Tell us a little bit about that effort, first game back after that long layoff and then coming up with the road win.
Yeah. Always good to get a win, especially on the road. It's very tough. Any college coach will tell you that. It's tough to go win on the road. So a game that, if anybody watched it, the first quarter, we looked like we had been off for a long time. It kind of took us a while to get into our rhythm on both sides of the ball. But as the game kind of wore on, a few timeouts, the girls were kind of able to talk to each other, huddle and everything, and we slowly got into our rhythm. And the game kind of went in our favor after, I would say, maybe the 4.5 minute mark is where we started to play better against Mary Baldwin. And I'm a pretty efficient night from the field, from the group. I was proud of them. We played well on the defensive side, really internalized the scout. And it was a good game for us to get first coming back. That first one, you really don't quite know what to expect. Your team hasn't played in a while, but I was pleased with the effort from the team.
And then a big matchup, at home on Saturday afternoon against Methodist, a team that entered that game 4-1 in the USA South Conference. And once again, the Tornadoes come through big time, 73-54, a 53% effort shooting from the field. And Coach, great start as far as, getting that win at the Bosch to start off the new year as well.
Yes. And against a good team. Now, that Methodist squad is pretty good. Coach McNair has them playing good basketball right now. And this was another game that we kind of got off to a slower start than we wanted to on the offensive side. The defense was okay throughout. I thought we started the game with the right effort, the right intensity and locked into the scouting report on the defensive end. Offensively, we struggled a little bit, had some jitters, a few uncharacteristic turnovers by us. We watched the film on it and saw the things that we could have done better during that stretch. But I tell you this, Phil, our defense was really good. And that's what kept us around. I think they got off to a 10-2 start, 12-2, something like that, around the first media timeout. And we sat, we talked, and we kind of calmed down. And from then on, we threw a punch, and they never really responded from it. A really nice run for us to end the first quarter and kind of carry throughout the rest of the game.
Outstanding. And then, as the graphic shows there, 4-0 at home at the Bosch. So certainly, the home court advantage makes a difference for this team. We've talked about that a bunch over the shows that we've had here on Tornado Talk. But before we get to returning to home, because there's a stretch in the schedule with 4 consecutive home games coming up, this huge matchup tomorrow at Greensboro, 6 p.m. in Greensboro, 2 teams atop the USA South Conference. This will be a real early test for both teams to see kind of who stakes claim, as far as the early leader here in conference play.
Yeah, really good team playing really good basketball right now. They're fast, they're athletic, they're talented. It's going to be a game where our transition defense is going to be tested. We talked this morning and we talked some yesterday about the game plan and how we want to attack them on both sides. And we know what we have to do. We know where we need to neutralize them and what they do well. And we also know where we want to attack. Now it's about going to do it, and taking care of those small things that I was talking about at the beginning of the show. 2 good teams that are playing well-coached teams, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a really good test for us. A team that I think they played in the semifinals last year. They lost a game before the championship last year. So they've been around. And so it's going to be a good early test for us. But the girls are ready. Solid practice this morning. And we're in a decent groove right now. So I'm kind of ready to watch us go play, ready to go compete.
Outstanding. And then for the home crowd opportunities coming up beginning this Friday with a matchup versus Mary Baldwin. That's at 6 p.m. at the Bosch. Look forward to having a big crowd there now that the students are back on campus en masse. And then Saturday, 4 p.m. versus Southern Virginia at the Bosch. Then games on Monday of next week, 6 p.m. That's a non-conference game against Warren Wilson, and then versus Pfeiffer on Wednesday, the 18th. So some real opportunities for fans to see this team. And Coach, we'll maybe wrap it up with this. For those who haven't seen this year's edition, other than the obvious, off to a great record and things like that, what makes this team really special and fun to watch from a fan standpoint, in your opinion?
They're talented, but Phil, we play hard. We play really hard. And I think that kind of covers up for a lot of the mistakes that we make from time to time. We're able to watch things on film and see where we made mistakes, but because of our length, our athleticism in certain spots, and the energy and effort we play with, we're able to kind of cover some of that stuff up. I think we play an exciting brand of basketball. I really appreciate the home crowd. We really couldn't do it without y'all. Coming into the Bosch, it's tough to play. And I think that goes to the crowd and how they kind of get into the games when we're playing the right way. But just a team that's playing hard right now and in a really good rhythm, Phil. And hopefully we can keep it that way. We got to stay consistent in our efforts and everything, continue to build good habits, and we'll see what the rest of the year holds.
Outstanding. Well, best of luck tomorrow, Coach, with that big matchup at Greensboro, and can't wait to see you back here at the Bosch beginning Friday with that matchup versus Mary Baldwin. And once again, games Friday, Saturday, Monday coming up at the Bosch. Coach, if you can stick with us just a couple moments further, we're going to invite in a couple of women's basketball student athletes. As joining the program now, Cassie Plemmons has entered the Tornado Talk studios, as has Naliyah Boyce. And Coach, I'm going to turn it back over to you to help introduce these 2 outstanding student athletes to NATO Nation.
Yes. Cassie Plemmons and Naliyah Boyce. Naliyah played at McDowell High School in Marion, and Cassie came to us from North Buncombe. They both play the post position for us, and phenomenal women, really, really good teammates. It's a pleasure to coach them. I really hope they're enjoying their experience. I enjoy coaching these young women, and I look forward to continue watching them grow on and off the court.
Outstanding. Well, appreciate that, Coach. Again, best of luck this week with the games coming up, beginning at Greensboro tomorrow. And thanks again for joining this edition of Tornado Talk. It's great to get things started here in the new year.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Always a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, there he goes, head coach Donald Hudson. And as he helped introduce our two guests up in that upper right corner, Cassie Plemmons, the junior center from Asheville, North Carolina. Cassie, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you with us. And also with us, Naliyah Boyce, the sophomore center from Marion, North Carolina. Naliyah, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Appreciate it, Naliyah. We're going to ask our producer, actually, Naliyah, I'm going to get things started with Cassie to see if we can kind of log you back in because we're having a little bit of a lag with the internet connection. So just stick with us. I know Roya is going to work with you here shortly here, and we'll get you back and all set up. And meanwhile, we'll keep going here with Cassie. So Cassie, looking forward to continuing this winning streak with the women's basketball team. From your perspective and being a part of this team, how much fun has it been to, get off to this hot start?
Well, it's been really good. The energy's been good, and just cheering on them teammates, just watching them play hard, it's been really cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, we talked to Coach a little bit about the home court advantage at the Bosch and, how that makes a difference. Can you talk about that as far as, one, first of all, you get to sleep in your own beds and you get to kind of do your routine and that sort of thing. But, of course, the energy inside the Bosch, I don't think people realize how loud that place gets.
Yeah, it can get pretty loud, especially from my loud mouth. So, yeah. And the crowd is incredible too. So,
Cassie, people might not realize you're also a member of the softball program here at Brevard College. Tell us a little bit about that. One, for you personally, let's start with this. As far as managing, sort of playing two sports, having to switch gears, whether you're playing basketball and softball. I mean, obviously there's plenty of differences between the two sports. One's played indoors, one played outdoors, not to mention plenty more that's different. But tell us a little bit, maybe differences and also similarities.
Well, differences, of course, one's inside, one's outside. Our teams are just they're two completely different things. You have to kind of adjust to each team and just, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And you spoke about sort of the spirit, and I can't help but notice you're a big part of that. And that happens both in women's basketball, but also in softball. Do you kind of take a different approach as far as how you get that bench going in terms of the energy?
No, I pretty much just stay loud and just keep being loud because that's who I am. So
Very cool indeed. Well, glad to have back with us Naliyah Boyce. Naliyah, you got us loud and clear now?
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for joining the program. Really appreciate you coming here on the show. We were talking to Cassie a little bit about, just this early success for the team. You guys are off to a great start. How much fun has it been to, be able to get this many wins early on and get this season off to such a great start?
I think it's really fun to watch and be a part of, and I just want to credit our hard work for how far we've came, and I think it's really good that we've been 6-0. I mean, I think this is something that not many teams before us has done, and I'm just really proud of the effort that we've all put forth to get this far.
And I also spoke with Cassie about the following. The Tornadoes are 4-0 at home so far this season, so you're undefeated at home at the Bosch. What kind of difference does that make as far as having that home crowd behind you guys and really, creating that energy in the Bosch?
I just think seeing familiar faces and having our friends and supporters around to back us up is really good. Gets the momentum and flow going, and it just creates more, makes us dedicated more to getting a win.
Naliyah, you're from nearby Marion, North Carolina, just on the other side of the mountain on I-40 and in McDowell County. Tell us a little bit, about your upbringing in terms of a basketball player. When did it become serious? And then ultimately, how did you find Brevard College?
It became serious for me, and I think I was fourth grader in elementary school. That's when I really locked in and I knew basketball was what I wanted to do. I took it serious all the way through middle school and high school, and playing with McKenna Parkins, who's also on the team. she graduated a year before me, and seeing where she went, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. Locked in, and Coach Hud gave me a call, and I knew this was the place for me whenever I came and visited, and here I am now.
Yeah, that's cool. Between McKenna and yourself creating this pipeline of sorts from McDowell High School here to Brevard College. Great to have you with us. And Cassie, you're from Asheville, just up the road as well. Tell us a little bit about your journey as a student athlete, and when you started to zone in, not just on basketball, but also softball, and ultimately, how did you find Brevard College?
Yeah, so ever since I was little, I always wanted to play both softball and basketball in college, and Brevard just made that possible for me. And I also love that Brevard was close to home. And then when Coach Hud came to recruit me, I was like, that's where I need to go.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Cassie, now that you've been here a couple years, can you tell, perhaps some of your, folks, maybe they're from Asheville tuning in to watch this show. Maybe they're, high school, prospective student athletes from other parts of the country. But what makes Brevard College in this area of the United States, a special place to go to college?
Well, it's like a small, tight-knit community that you would never expect it to be, because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, so you don't really know where it's at. But it's just such a cool place to be. The nature and everything is just really cool.
And Naliyah, same question for you now that you've been here, in your second season now, a sophomore here at Brevard College. What would you tell, folks back home, is, hey, this is what makes Brevard College special, and this is why you might be able to, succeed here as well.
I think that the bond that I have with my teammates, the friends that I've made, and also the friendships I've made outside of the classroom alongside my professors and also with my coach have made it such a safe place and a great place that I want to be at. I feel at home, and I really enjoy what I've built here.
That's great to hear. Really appreciate that answer. Well, do you want to take a moment or two to talk a little bit in the classroom? Classes got started back up today, in case folks weren't aware of that. So it's great to have, the entire student body back on campus after the holiday break. But Cassie, tell us a little bit about what you're working on in the classroom. Have you selected a major, and, what's been keeping you busy academically?
Well, I've been really busy. I'm double majoring in math and physics, and I'm also a part of the teaching licensure program. So that keeps me really busy with a lot of classes and stuff like that. And I'm also a part of the honors program too. So I'm just really busy.
Yeah, no doubt. And, just to follow up there, I'm sure there might be, underclassmen or, high school, prospects or that kind of thing who hear that and are like, oh no, that's got to be impossible. How do you do it? How do you manage your time with so much going on academically, but also athletically too?
Well, I make sure to have all my stuff planned out on my calendar on my phone, and pretty much just if I need time for myself to take it, and just not to burn myself out. And yeah, I mean, it's simple. So
Some good advice there, no doubt about it. Naliyah, tell us about your academics. What have you been working on in the classroom, and have you selected a major?
I'm in the process of actually switching my major, but I will say some classes that I have took are exercise science classes because I was looking at becoming a physical therapist. But I'm in a loop between physical education, psychology, and exercise science at the moment.
All of which sort of tie in with each other. Very cool, and certainly all sorts of possibilities, and whichever direction you end up going here at Brevard College. Well, before we let each of you go, do want to give you each the opportunity, and you can take as long as you want. We'll start with you, Naliyah. Any shout outs, thank yous, anybody you just want to give a what's up to? The floor is yours.
I want to give a shout out to my mom and dad for making it possible for me to be here and supporting me along the way. Also, a huge shout out to Coach Hud and Coach AB for not only guiding me and helping me, but being there as a friend and supporting me not only on a athletic and academic level, but as a person in general. They're always there for me when I need them. And I also want to give a shout out to all my teammates out there and all my friends that are there to support me as well.
Well done, Naliyah Boyce, sophomore center from Marion, North Carolina. Really nicely done. Cassie, same opportunity for you. Shout outs or thank yous?
I'd like to thank my mom and my dad. They've just been there with me through everything, supported me through all of the decisions I've made, and I just love them to death. I'd also like to shout out to my best friend, Caitlin White. She's been there through me through the thick and the thin, everything since high school. So just wanted to shout her out, and just all my teammates. I love you guys, and I'm so glad I get to be a part of the team with you guys. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff. Cassie Plemmons, Naliyah Boyce, thanks so much for joining us this evening on Tornado Talk. Best of luck tomorrow with the road trip to Greensboro. We can't wait to see you back here at the Bosch this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And we're going to switch gears and talk some men's hoops now, as entering the program momentarily here is head coach Lee Burgess. Coach Burgess, thanks for joining the show.
Yep, I'm glad to be here, Phil. Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here for this 2023 season debut for Tornado Talk, and great to catch up with you. We haven't had you on the show. We haven't had a show in a few weeks here, so a lot to catch up on. So I would like to kind of flash back a bit to Saturday, December the 17th, because our last show was actually before that matchup, a trip to Greenville and a win for the Tornadoes, 97-89 over Bob Jones. Coach, can you help us reflect back on that specific game? I know it probably seems like ages ago, but I can refresh you a little bit. Boyette, 18 points, Carnes and Carter each 13 points. Carnes ends up winning the men's basketball rookie of the week coming off that performance. Can you reflect back, because obviously that kind of took us into the winter break and where you guys went from there.
Right. So I know that game, it was coming off of exam week for us. So we had been in exams leading up to that game. And, that's always a little bit tricky because the exam week practice schedule is definitely spotty. You just got to have to find time when you can to get the guys work in. But then headed into that game, and if I'm remembering it right, it was a pretty close game for most of the first half and early in the second half. And we hit a couple pretty good spurts in the second half to kind of push it out to double figures and maintain that for a while. I do think Bob Jones tightened it back up a little bit towards the end of the game. But we were able to fend that off and come away with an 8-point win, which was great. Head into Christmas with a win. And get to enjoy that break. So you read off the stats in terms of leading scores. It wasn't one guy scoring 30. It was definitely a team effort on the offensive side of the ball. And so it was a really good win heading into Christmas.
Yeah, then head into Christmas, and then following the break, I know the team reconvened, and then a trip to Atlanta, which included a 75-70 win over Oglethorpe. Can you kind of take us through that stretch of the winter break and then that trip to Atlanta?
Yeah, so we brought our guys back and practiced on December 26th. So we got practices in December 26th, 27, and 28. So 3 practices in leading into that classic at Oglethorpe. Fortunately for us, just in terms of our prep, we were playing Oglethorpe and Sewanee, who we had already seen that year. So certainly some familiarity there with our guys, and not having to spend a lot of the get back time going over a whole new prep. We're certainly putting in our work and preparing, but it's not like they're seeing or hearing things for the first time, around a certain opponent. So went down to Oglethorpe and played them first. Shot the ball really well, really well. I think 50%, I think 13 of 26 from the arc as a team. Carson Evans was really good that game. I think he made 6 threes in that game. And so a career high for him. And to win on Oglethorpe's home floor after beating them at our place was a really, really good win for us to get. Fortunately, we shot it really well. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Sewanee here next, where we equally shot it not as well. And so just segueing into that, I think I don't remember the percentage, but 13 of 26 against Oglethorpe, and then it was 3 of 16, 17 from the arc, something like that against Sewanee. and good looks too, and so I don't know, reasoning for that. It can be certainly the layoff and back-to-back games, but Sewanee had that same deal, and they did not shoot it poorly. They shot it really well. They've got a really good team. Sewanee has a really, really good team, and it was not our night. I don't think it was for lack of trying on our end. We were giving effort, and getting good looks that just were not going down. And Sewanee was a matchup problem for us. Russ Marr is a really good player for them. Number 11, his name is escaping me, for them, is a really good player for them as well, and a matchup problem for us around the basket. And those two guys had really phenomenal games, for Sewanee. So came away with a split, and interestingly enough, in that tournament, every team split. So there were 4 teams down there: us, Oglethorpe, Sewanee, and LaGrange. And each team left 1-1. Each team got 1 win and got 1 loss. So a very competitive classic put on by Oglethorpe there.
Then we turn the calendar to the new year, and USA South Conference play begins. A trip to Staunton, Virginia against Mary Baldwin. Tight affair there, did not go the Tornadoes' way. And then the home conference opener this weekend versus Southern Virginia, 87-55, lost to a tough Southern Virginia club.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, can you tell us, maybe the learnings and, what's the focus now? Because a quick turnaround versus Pfeiffer tomorrow at the Bosch.
Right. So, breaking down the Mary Baldwin film, we saw some things on there where, we're very candid with our team, where I felt like Mary Baldwin simply outcompeted us in some areas around the basket and for loose balls. I don't think our guys were out there quitting. I don't think our guys were out there not playing hard. But there is a difference between playing hard and playing as hard as you can. And we were able to show some things on film where, all right, here it is. It's a 50-50 ball, and who's going to come away with it? And it was Mary Baldwin that came away with it more often than not. And in a tight game, those things matter. And they were able to make some big plays off some hustle plays. We didn't shoot the ball great from the foul line. Let some guys beat us to their strength, which was not good. And so we take all that, we wrap it up, and we show it, and we work on things in practice. And now we're headed into this big game against Southern Virginia at our place against a very good team. And we just got punched in the mouth right from get-go in that game. Southern Virginia came out and really played very, very well. We knew Southern Virginia was a very good team. We knew we would need to play well to give ourselves a chance to win. I felt like our guys internalize everything that we wanted for them to do, and then it was just a couple haymakers right from start from Southern Virginia who started the game clicking on all cylinders. I think it was 18-2 to start the game, and that just kind of takes a lot of air out of the balloon when you've got yourself wrapped up, ready to go play so well, play so hard, and the other team just socks it right to you right from the start. I felt like our guys stuck with it throughout, but that game, that was a hard get right game for us. Credit to Southern Virginia. They played really, really well. Offensively, I think that I know they put 4 guys in double figures, and then had several others with 9, 8 points. I mean, so it was throughout their roster, guys were there and ready to compete. And we're having a hard time stopping them on that end. And I think from the arc, we shot the ball reasonably well, not pretty well, but reasonably well in the game against Southern Virginia, but from the field did not. Our 2-point percentage was pretty poor in that game, not able to score the ball around the basket and things like that. So, you shed it, you learn from it, and now quick turnaround tomorrow, Pfeiffer at home, and telling our guys, all conference games, all wins and losses, count the same, and we need to put one in the W column. We've gotten off to an 0-2 start. There's still a lot of conference season in front of us. So a big one with Pfeiffer at our place, and a team that Brevard has a lot of familiarity with just from our days of Division II and then transitioning to Division III at the same time. And, their coach has been there for a while. And so we haven't played them here recently, but there's a pretty good familiarity with how they want to play. I'm sure with them, with how we want to play. And we're certainly going to have to defend them off the bounce tomorrow. And we're certainly going to have to keep them off the offensive glass. So those are the things that we're going to have to pay attention to defensively. And then offensively, going to have to take care of the ball and not turn it over. And they do love to create turnovers and try and get easy buckets in transition off of their turnovers. So we'll have to take care of the ball and get quality shots. So we had a good day of prep today, I felt like, and good film session. And hopefully our guys are going to get ready to put a good foot forward tomorrow.
Last one, Coach, before we bring in a couple of your student athletes, ask Coach Hudson the same thing as we head into another home game for the men's basketball team tomorrow. For those who haven't had the chance to see this edition of Brevard College men's basketball yet this season, what are some of the things you tell them as far as, what makes this a great watch in terms of how these student athletes compete out there?
Well, we've got a lot of guys you can pull for. So, you're not going to come and say, okay, well, this is their best player. This is the guy that's going to score all the points. I'm going to cheer for him. We've got a lot of really good players on the team. And so I think you can come support a large number of people. Offensively, I don't know the number, but we've probably been led in scoring by 4 or 5 different players throughout the year, just in a game-by-game basis. So we've got a lot of guys that can score the ball. We're going to shoot a lot of threes if we have that opportunity, and have some guys that can make some really good individual plays offensively as well. Defensively, you should hear some loud communication from the defensive side and some good energy over there. And then I think we've got a bench of guys who likes to support the guys that are on the floor. So you hear I'm a little bit older and I'm not in the younger generation, but the positive vibes movement that's around the college kids these days. We've got a lot of positive vibes on our team, so we would love to have people come to the gym and help give us theirs as well.
All right. On that note, positive vibes at the Bosch tomorrow night, 7 p.m. versus Pfeiffer. Coach, can you stick with us just a moment or two longer? We're going to effort in a couple of the men's basketball student athletes who are going to join the program this evening, as Quincy Carter and Sly White have joined the program. Coach, before we let you go, help introduce these two to NATO Nation.
Yeah, well, I'll start with Quincy, one of our captains and a senior from Atlanta. Quincy has had a really good year so far. We rely on him for a lot of leadership, scoring the ball offensively in a lot of different ways, and then really kind of spearheading our defense from an emotional standpoint. Do have to show him some love here today. It's Quincy's birthday, so we got to tell Quincy happy birthday. Happy birthday, my man, and glad you're part of this group. And then Sly White, a junior from Raleigh. Sly has worked really, really hard to be productive for this team. Did not get a ton of minutes last year, and didn't sulk, didn't slump his shoulders, didn't hang his head, just went to work, and has made himself into a very, very valuable member of this team, and is getting a lot of minutes now and giving us a lot of production, and we're thankful for that. So proud of him, and thankful for both of these guys in the program, and looking forward to what the rest of the season will hold for them.
Very good. Appreciate that, Coach Burgess, and can't wait to see you at the Bosch tomorrow evening for that big matchup versus Pfeiffer. See you there, Coach. Thank you for joining the show.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there he goes, head coach Lee Burgess, and as Coach helped us introduce, up in that upper right corner is Sly White. Sly, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you for having me.
Junior forward out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and also with us, Quincy Carter, making his return to Tornado Talk, senior guard out of Decatur, Georgia. Quincy, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I mean, I'm just kind of blown away. Happy birthday, Quincy Carter, spending it on Tornado Talk. What an awesome way to celebrate, one of the top performers on the Brevard College Tornado. Hope you've had a great birthday thus far, Quincy. And, thanks again, making some time for Tornado Talk on your birthday. And let's get things started with you, Quincy. Tell us a little bit. I know these last couple games haven't gone the way, you guys had hoped, but I know you guys are working hard. Had a big day of practice today, big one versus Pfeiffer tomorrow. Kind of catch us up as far as this year's team and, what you guys are really focused on heading into that game tomorrow versus Pfeiffer.
Tomorrow we focus on defense right now, because I feel like if we stop them, we'll be able to score, because we're a good offensive team, and we just need to focus on defense, getting stops, and just getting rebounds and going after the 50-50 balls. If we win that battle, I feel like we're gonna win the game tomorrow.
Yeah, and Sly, you guys have had some really great success already this season. Wins over Warren Wilson, a season sweep of Oglethorpe, big win over Bob Jones. In your mind, what's the key? As far as what the Tornadoes need to do and what worked well in those wins.
I feel like one thing we did well was we really paid attention to the scout and really focused on defense. I feel like that's where we need to improve as a team, like Quincy said. So right now our focus is just making sure we're vocal and then we play defense as a team. I feel like that's just the biggest keys for us right now.
Very good. And Sly, tell us a little more about yourself, junior forward out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Tell us a little bit about, kind of your basketball arc. When did you first touch a basketball? When did it get serious? Tell us maybe about your high school career and then ultimately here at Brevard College.
So I started playing basketball when I was very little. I don't know the specific age where I was, but in high school days, I played at Trinity Academy of Raleigh for all 4 years. And my head coach, I call him Coach B, but Coach Burrell, he helped me progress as a player, me playing varsity as a freshman. He just trusted me, just keep proving my game. And then where your goal is that you're going to hit it and end up hitting it and making it playing in Brevard College. And so my first year at Brevard was the COVID year, which was kind of crazy with all the rules and the strict for basketball practicing and masks and stuff like that. And so then last year, our head coach said I didn't play a lot, but I didn't sulk my head. I kept cheering on the guys and just trying to make them better for the program. And then this year, I'm stepping up in a new role and just playing around and being a key figure for us as a team.
Yeah, and Sly, you won a USA South Player of the Week honor earlier this year, back on the week of December the 11th. But, love for you to kind of, in your own words, describe yourself as a player. Perhaps folks haven't had the chance to see the Tornadoes team this year and haven't seen you play. What is your style of play? What are your strengths? How would you describe yourself?
As a player, I feel like I can just do anything. If coach asks me to do anything, I can just do it. I'm a team player. I'm not selfish. I'm not trying to hog the ball for my teammates. I try to make sure everybody gets involved and everybody keeps their head up. If someone's shooting bad, tell them to keep shooting. Just keep encouraging them. I feel like one of my strengths, I feel like I can shoot the ball pretty well. And I just feel like as a team, I feel like they trust me with the ball and just shooting it in general.
Very good. And Quincy, I'll give you the same opportunity. I don't know if I've ever asked you this directly, but, how would you kind of describe, your game? And, perhaps there's someone you've patterned your game, around, but, you're your own person too, and your own basketball player, what are the, sort of the highlights of, what makes Quincy Carter, a ball player?
Well, I feel like I'm a playmaker. I try to attack every opportunity just to force the defense to focus on me so I can get my other teammates involved. And also my defensive ability to stay in front of my man. I take pride in defense, as y'all heard many times. And I just use my energy to just shut off to my other teammates so they can play harder.
And you've had a couple big offensive performances already this season, 4 20-plus point performances this year, including a career-high 33 points in that win over Warren Wilson. Quincy, can you reflect back on that one, the 33 points? I mean, was it just one of these nights where you're absolutely feeling it? Tell us about it.
It was definitely one of them nights when I was just feeling it. And I think I just wanted to win more because we lost to them at home, and I wanted to win this game. I couldn't let that team sweep us because we was already the better team, and we just dropped the ball at home. But when we went to their place, I was like, it's whatever. I'm not leaving this without a win. I'm not leaving this place without a win. And I just did what I had to do.
All right, Sly, since he's the birthday boy, let's give him a little more love. Tell us what it's like to be Quincy's teammate, and what makes him, a special player and, a great guy to have on your team.
Quincy, he's a very funny guy. He's probably one of the top funniest guys on the team, I would say. But to a basketball standpoint, he wants everybody to shine. And he knows everybody's abilities and he wants them to do the best that they can. So if one of us are slacking, he's going to pick us up as a leader. He's going to be like, hey, I need you to wake up. Like, you're better than this. Like, I know you can defend the ball. I know you can shoot, keep shooting. And he's very encouraging. And then his energy plays a big factor because once he's energized on defense, we're all energized on defense. So he's a big key part of our team as a leader.
Well said. And Quincy, I'll let you return the favor. Tell us a little bit about Sly, maybe something, NATO Nation doesn't know about, what makes this guy, a factor.
Man, Sly's a good dude. Sly, he sees me sometimes when I'm down on the court, when we go down big sometimes, and he always uplifts me. Like, he always got something encouraging to say to me. And I really appreciate that because you always need a teammate like Sly. Even last year when he wasn't playing, he was always talking to me, always talking about Scout. And I'm just like, dude, you might not play today, but he's still just, you feel me? He's just still there being a great teammate. And I really just appreciate that. And, like, you always need a guy like Sly in the locker room. And I'm just glad to have him as my teammate.
That's great to hear. Great words from each of you guys. And I know it's you guys are speaking from the heart. This is the real deal here with Quincy Carter, Sly White, and the Brevard College Tornado men's basketball team. Quincy, tell us a little bit about in the classroom. Classes got started today. Your senior year. What are you working on academically? Tell us what you're going to ultimately graduate with here at Brevard.
I have a major in business and I have a minor in coaching. I'm actually interested in being a college coach one day. And next year I'll probably be a grad assistant somewhere or to get my master's or just finish out my last year of basketball.
Outstanding. Great stuff there, Quincy. Sly, how about yourself? Have you zeroed in on a major? Tell us what you're up to in the classroom.
So I did pick a major. My major is exercise science, and post-graduation, I'm looking to become a physical therapist.
Very good. Well, before we let the two of you go, we're going to go with you first, Sly, because we want to give this birthday boy as much time as he possibly needs. But Sly, we'll start with you. Any shout outs, thank yous, anybody you want to, just say hello to or give some credit to as far as them helping you out?
Really want to shout out my mom. She has been a really big part of this, and also want to shout out the rest of my family and friends and also my teammates for supporting me through thick and thin. I really appreciate all of them.
All right. Well said. And Quincy Carter, happy birthday once again from all of us at the Tornadoes Athletic Department and all of us at NATO Nation. What a cool way to spend a birthday, here on Tornado Talk with, all your virtual friends here tuning in on social media. But Quincy, the floor is yours. It's your birthday. You could take as long as you want. Shout outs and thank yous. Go for it, my friend.
I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody for sending the birthday wishes. I really appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to my mom because she always there. She always supported me. She always texted me before every game, give me words of encouragement. And I also want to give a shout out to my dad for always being there and just being that guy.
Very good. Quincy Carter and Sly White. Hey, great job tonight on Tornado Talk. It was really a lot of fun to have you guys on the program, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow night. This is a big one, folks. Make sure you get on out to the Bosch. Tuesday night, we're going to pack this place. Students are back. Let's make a loud environment for these student athletes as the men's basketball team hosts Pfeiffer 7 p.m. Tuesday at the Bosch. Sly White, Quincy Carter, thanks for doing the show. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night at the Bosch.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. There they go. And want to thank Quincy Carter and Sly White. Also our guest, head coach Lee Burgess from the men's basketball team, women's basketball student athletes Naliyah, Boyce, and Cassie Plemmons. We also spoke with head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson. All sorts of upcoming basketball action tomorrow. The women's team is on the road in a huge early season conference play matchup at Greensboro. The two teams sitting atop the USA South Conference standings. Tornadoes look to remain undefeated in conference play at Greensboro. And then there's women's games Friday, Saturday, Monday at the Bosch. And then tomorrow, men's basketball versus Pfeiffer at the Bosch, 7 p.m. If you're not able to join us in person, we hope you can. But if you can't, we'll be bringing you all that action on the YouTube channel. Student broadcaster Brady Penn will be handling the play-by-play call of these upcoming basketball games this week. Well, I want to thank all who made this program possible, including producer Royo Tomasabi. I want to thank you, NATO Nation, for joining us for this New Year's edition of Tornado Talk. Go Tornadoes!